All right, we are looking at the podcast link generator. This was built largely with Lovable, and then I tried some other helpers to finish it off. And so it looks like this when it's been used. I'm going to start with an example that worked, and then I'm going to back up and try it again from scratch. So you save your OpenAPI key in the browser. It's locally saved, and that way anybody can use it with their own OpenAPI key. And the owner of the page, which is me, doesn't pay for other people's usages. Podcast transcript, you copy and paste that in. This one's 6,467 words. It's got a little word counter right here. And so you can paste your full podcast transcript there. You can specify the number of topics to find. I've got this set to 2 for this example. You can choose domains to avoid up to 10, and you add them one at a time here. And topics to avoid. I found that initially it was finding not very quality topics. I actually haven't been using the topics to avoid anymore. I've also not been using the domains to avoid anymore. I added them initially because I was getting bad results. Now I'm getting better results. Then you click the process transcript button. There's a little timer, and it's discover some topics. You can unselect the topics. So there's a little checkbox here. You'll notice it changes the discovered links down there when I do so. It actually deselects the links down here later. So it's hard to see, I guess. So when I unselect this topic, all the 3 links found for this topic, the role of empathy in healthcare, all get unchecked together. So if you found a topic that you didn't like, basically, you'd uncheck the whole topic. And then when it discovers links, it summarizes in the transcript what they discussed, how AI can outperform doctors in demonstrating empathy during patient interactions. And it found that was the context in the transcript. It found this title and this URL. And of course, we have to check, are they valid URLs? It is. It's an actual article. I'll click on all of these. Forbes, Psychology Today, actual lengths, make it more empathetic. Then in the second topic, Q Rounds by Michael Pitt. I think that it misunderstands Q Rounds. Well, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't. I haven't looked at the whole transcript very carefully. Q Rounds is listed, I think, in this best, let's see, supporting healthcare workers. Let's make sure Q Rounds is here. Oh, I don't see it. Oh, looks like it may. Oh, I thought it looked like it was a good one. Robot Empathy Divide. This looks like an actual study. And AP News, as nurses reshape hospital, human nurses are pushing back. It is about empathy in healthcare. It's not about Q Rounds, though. It's actually, this looks like an error. These links are for the first topic, even though they're associated with the second topic. More to debug. Well, when you get the link summary and you decide that you've got links that you want to use, I'm going to uncheck this link here, and you'll notice it disappears from this top list here so that you can decide which links you want to use. And, you can get no links. We'll pretend that we want these 3 links, and you can copy the formatted summary. It's copied to the clipboard. You can copy it as Markdown. You can copy it as plain text. You can copy it as HTML. Then you have a link tester dev tool where you can just enter topics and test the topics separately. I haven't even tried testing with a transcript. It kind of added that without me asking it to. So we've got a bug, and what I'm using is the OpenAPI API. So it's kind of a newer preview of search. So you enter your OpenAPI key, and when you are, let's find the, first of all, it does the topic. So it transcript input. So you take the input. Let me just find the API key input, link search tester transcript input, test results, tester transcript services. So what it's looking for is topics first. So here's some topics. Those are all links. Transcript utilities. What I found, first of all, if we just look at the files, is that it did a lot of, Lovable wanted to split them into separate files really frequently. If it was over, this long, over however many characters this is, it really wanted to make a separate file. So it was splitting files. So it ends up becoming harder and harder to navigate as you continue adding features. You've got a transcript API, transcript processor, utils, and the chat completions. This is what I was looking for. Couldn't remember the name of it. First, you do the chat completions. We do the chat completions in order to find the topics. Oh, did it refresh? Looks like it just refreshed. So we'll do it again later. But you do the you paste the transcript in, and you use chat completions to say, here you're an expert podcast summary writer. You identify. Looks like this is an old version, so I did change these. That may be the bug. When I started editing with GitHub and then editing with another editor and then going back to Lovable, I think I kind of mashed up which version was most current. I don't think they were pulling in. They were for a while and then they stopped updating. So it's a little bit of a lesson in how to keep your code base straight. But you're gonna find relevant, useful topics. So I repeated relevant, useful. This is the system prompt. And so you've got a book example, and I said prioritize topics that will help the listeners dive deeper into the subjects discussed. And you've got range by David Epstein. Make sure it's actually got the title and the author. Here's a concept example. So it's a fairly long system prompt. And then return only a JSON array with this structure. And then you've got a user prompt, which is extract the safe topic count, which removes any topics that you typed in. And where's the domains to avoid? It looks like it edited the domains to avoid out. It's supposed to add domains to avoid as well. Maybe not. No, topics to avoid. Never mind. That's later for the links. Sorry, getting confused. So you also provide this 1 to 10 word phrase, brief context of the summary of the context. So we use all of those pieces later. And then we've got the link finder later, and that is using this new responses API. So let's see. It's the v1/responses. So it's not the chat completion. It's a new tool, which is, I'm using Mini, and I'm using output tokens. It should say medium here, which I think equates to 8,000. Or at least there was a spot where you can say low, medium, high context window. Maybe you can also just say the number of max tokens. We rarely use a full 8,000 tokens. There's really verbose logging in the console. So we do talk about how many tokens got used. It says max tokens 800. But I log almost every step of the way here. Cache tokens. Like total tokens 1174. So we rarely are getting up to the 8,000 tokens max, but we log just about everything that can be logged. It feels like. Um, then we have got some error handling, and then we parse all the links. Like we've got a link validator. That's topics, link validation. Um, link search tester. So we do a bunch of testing of these links because we were getting really low quality links before. And it's been really inconsistent. So I went on the OpenAI developer forums and I found that there are a couple other people complaining, about hallucinations from the new OpenAI preview. It is a preview, like as we saw. I mean, it's called Search Preview. Sometimes it repeats links over and over. Sometimes it doesn't give you a link, so it'll give you a topic. It's like, sure, here's some links, topic, 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 and it doesn't actually provide a URL. So I think I've been trying to debug something that wasn't giving me good data to begin with, and I probably should have started with just a more bare bones test of the API first, but you live and you learn. So we get all these, we do a bunch of link testing. And so some of it was regex handling, some of it was handling the markdown that was in some of the responses. Like it wasn't giving me JSON some of the time. See how it does this markdown? The role of empathy in healthcare. This is the output from the GPT-4o Mini 2024. Oh, 718. Why is it that model? That seems like an old model. Did I ask it for... Did we go back to that old model? Using to find array, finding all topics, extracted topics, finding links for topics, context topic, formatted topics, sending request to web search tool, making request, system prompt. Find these. Okay, here's the response. Let me see if I specify this model in the code now, because that should not be specified. No. No. That's a React hook. Let's just see where it says. I do specify the mini. Rather, there is two versions. There's the full and there's the mini. So I'm just asking for 4.0. I'm not asking for the year. I wonder why it's returning the 2024 version now. Well, anyway, here's my kind of instructions, and then it does some markdown. So I do some parsing of all of these ends and markdowns somewhere in the code. Just basically extracting links from this. The search results are still kind of natural language. They do, or I don't know what to say. They're slightly conversational. It's not just straight. It does the whole thing plus the JSON, I guess. So annotations, we've got URL citation, actual URL, actual title. So these are the things that we're trying to make sure that we parse outside of the context, I guess. I think the context was in here too. An article about Laguna Health. So I was using these long descriptions for a while, and then I realized when you get the links, you don't necessarily want that summary in the podcast summary. Features I've been thinking about adding is this context window and the model name. In fact, if you wanted to switch to something like DuckDuckGo search, which has a pretty generous free tier, I was thinking of adding different choices of which search engine you want to use. If you have a Google API key, search API key, if you have a Bing search through Azure, whatever API, if you've got a bunch of different possibilities, then maybe a switcher there, and then adjust the temperature maybe. Just there's a couple of other things that could be added. So what else would be interesting to people? The files, the link parser. I think this is what I was talking about. So it's like, it's looking for HTTPS, and I was actually caching links for a while, but it really interfered with testing. So I connected it to Supabase up here and started caching, kind of a quick little saving of good domains or good links. But it was really messing up with testing because you can cache kind of a bad result thinking it's good, and then you get it over and over. So I could have, I just took it out. Let's see, link finder. There was a bunch of mock-up data that it tried to insert for a while. Dealing with the lovable conversation tool was interesting. It looked really nice. Like cosmetically, I liked the look and feel of it. It's not great for accessibility in terms of high contrast sometimes. There might be a better accessibility thing. It does have a couple other console things that start popping up over time. But yeah, if you've got any questions, let me know. It was a very fun project, and sometimes it works better than others. I bet if we did it again, we'd get different results. So let me go get the transcript again and try it again and see what we get now. I'll go up to 6 topics. We'll continue avoiding domains.com, but it looks like, oh yeah, let's make sure topics to avoid was ultimately included in the prompt. Lots of code around avoiding topics. I did adding topics too, so that you could just search for topics, but then we split that off later into this link tester. So you can just type a topic in here, like you can say dog food, and it'll just, find links around whatever topic you type in. Interestingly, taking a little while. I guess nothing got validated that time. Extracted links. Dog food. Links 0. Maybe it didn't validate. I don't know. It might be that this link tester never got connected back up with all of the fixes that I made to the main thing. Why does it keep refreshing? Is it because I'm on the preview? Okay, so let's process this. I'll clear the log. So there's all of the stuff. We've got these topics that have come back really quick. Q rounds. Oh, nice. It did Q rounds this time by itself without naming the speaker. It kept adding the speaker's name. This Michael Pitt. It frequently found Q rounds with Michael Pitt or something. Like it kept doing Q rounds with him added. So this looks like a better time. And this is just the randomness of using an AI to do search. Why isn't it coming up with any links all of a sudden? 0 this time. Received response. Null. Yeah, so I think that ultimately it was an interesting... it's been an interesting journey trying to use a preview. If you go to the OpenAI, I'll bring this window down in a second. This is the documentation. So it's a new built-in tool from OpenAI that is designed to search the web. I mean, that's what it's there for. And a simple prompt would be, what was a positive news story from today? It's using the web search preview and GPT-4. And it's a very light documentation. It uses the response calls. So the responses API, and you just have very lightweight documentation. But you can see this time we got back no links. It's just search results with 0 URLs. And that's just kind of what's frustrating about it and why I think it's a preview. And I did go, like, again, I said, I went on the forum and some people were getting hallucinated URLs often. Let's try it one more time. Okay. Topics. Still generating. Look at no links this time either. Let me just quickly look at what is live right now. Okay, this is an older version. I can tell because it's still got Wikipedia and Amazon as the examples, and I've been just removing those and having example.com. Just for fun, let's see what we've got for results here. So this doesn't have as verbose logging. Oh, it does maybe. Topics. Okay, so we've got all these topics. Now we're gonna wait for links. It found 4 links this time. Empathy, Q rounds. Let's see if this is actually Q rounds. The doctor's pioneer of AI. Let's see if Q rounds is in here. Nope. It's an AI-powered hospital solution, but it's not actually Q rounds. So if you do search for Q rounds, it is a particular thing. So we were often getting this result too. So I don't think that the preview API, is reliable. It's just not reliable. But it was a fun experiment, and it is quick, and it is cheap. The number of cents that I've spent, I've tested it. I feel like I've tested it quite a bit, and I'm getting like, I've spent maybe $1 for 811,000 tokens. Now that also includes the podcast summary topic extractors, but it's really not that expensive to work with. It's just that it's also not reliable. So the other options, probably Brave, DuckDuckGo I think had one, Brave has one, Google has one, Bing has one, and some paid ones, start at $20 a month for a decent amount. There's things like Search API here that will let you do a bunch of Search API things for $40 a month and 10,000 searches. So if you were to scale this, if there was somebody that could, build something off it, you'd probably want another one. SERP API is the big one. And they have basically a price tier of 75 is what they start out with, 5,000 searches. But it's probably really robust, probably really good. So, as you go up in quality, you go up in price. The Google API has a free tier, but it doesn't really... Google for programmable search. Yeah, I think this is the one. JSON. Yeah, so you basically sign up as a developer and you can use their API, and you can do the same with Azure and all that. All right, that's all I'm gonna talk about today. I know it was a long, boring video, so thanks for your patience. Hope you had fun watching, and see you next time.